Hello class, it's Mr. Vargas again coming to you live from my home. The assignment has been to learn a new skill in quarantine. I'm learning how to make sourdough bread. So now that I've learned how to do it, now I'm gonna try to teach others how to do it because the best way to learn is to teach. We already have our Levain. This is our sourdough starter mixed with flour. I put this to mix this morning. And now we're gonna do our Autolyse, which is gonna be flour with water. So we're gonna weigh them out and we're gonna add some water and we're gonna let it sit for a minute. We need 500 grams of all-purpose flour. All right, and we're gonna add 275 grams of this malted wheat flour. There we go. And we're gonna do 175 grams of whole wheat flour. There we go. So we have 950 grams total of flour. Then we're just gonna mix this up. Add 660 grams of warm water. This is between 90 and 95 degrees. So we're just gonna pour it in here. There we go. And then now what we're gonna do is we're just gonna mix this up into a shaggy ball with our spatula. Okay, once you have it all incorporated, you're gonna have this kind of shaggy ball and you're gonna cover it with saran wrap. And then we'll be back in 30 minutes. We're back. It's been 30 minutes. The Autolyse is ready. We are gonna salt the dough. And you need 2 teaspoons. This is a half a teaspoon. So we're gonna do 4 of these. There we go. And now we are going to pour in this is our starter. Scoop out all of this starter. We're gonna just spread it all the way around with our fingers. We've washed our hands, of course. And then we're gonna dimple it in there. And then we're just gonna mix it around. After it's all incorporated, we're just gonna kind of like, people call it the scoop and slap. We're gonna kind of like scoop it and slap it down. We're gonna let it sit here for 30 minutes. We'll be back, kids. We're back, kids. Our dough has been sitting for 30 minutes. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna do what's called the stretch and fold. This is a very simple technique. Wet your hand a little bit. You're gonna grab the dough here and you're gonna stretch it without tearing it, and then you're gonna just bring it down. And then you spin the bowl, you stretch, and then you bring it down. Stretch and fold. You're gonna stretch. We're gonna stretch and fold until we go all the way around and it kind of forms kind of like a ball. Then we're just gonna cover it back up, and we're gonna do this every 30 minutes for about 1.5 to 2 hours. I'll do this one, stretch and fold. Next one, right here, around that, there you go. Pick it up, stretch it, fold, good. Last one. Good, all right. So we're just gonna let that rest for another 30 minutes. We're gonna set our timer. All right, we're back, kids. It's been about 2 hours since we put in the starter. So we're gonna just stretch and fold. So now we're just gonna let it do the bulk ferment, So what's gonna happen is we're gonna cover it, and you wanna leave it on the counter, a warm spot, and you wanna leave it for about 2 to 4 hours until you see it kind of almost, grow by like 50% or almost getting close to doubling. And then we'll be back in 2 hours. All right, hello class, we are back. It's been a little bit over 3 hours since we did our bulk ferment. So if you guys want to come over here, you take a look. You can see we got all kinds of bubbly action going on right here. Got little bubbles. We're going to use our little scrapers. We're gonna flour our surface. Not too much flour, but we're gonna lightly flour it. And then we're just gonna basically like, look, you can see the bubbles on the back. See it? There it goes, it's coming out. There we go. Woo! There we go. And so you guys can see we got a lot of nice gluten going on here. We're gonna basically spread this out. And we're gonna cut it into 2 loaves. Use your scraper. Kind of form like a little ball. I'm gonna use our scraper here. We're gonna kind of stretch it out, flatten it out. And this is the little technique right here that I've been learning. You bring this back. You bring this over. You bring this other side over. And then you bring this other side back this way. And try to create a little surface tension. You kind of spin. And you're trying to create a little bit of tension on the top. There we go. All right. And we're gonna just let this chill right here for about 30 minutes. Again, I'm just doing the best that I can with what I have. I am by no means a professional baker. And we're gonna cover it with our bowl. All right, we'll be back. These are our proofing baskets. And what we're gonna use is we're gonna use brown rice flour to kind of dust these. She's gonna take some flour, you're gonna spread it around in there. Spread it around, I'm gonna spread this one around. And we're just generously dusting these and getting them ready. That's good, Shanini. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna shape our loaves. We're gonna flour the top. We're gonna flip it over. We're gonna kind of spread it out like a big long rectangle. Then we're gonna kind of fold this one over. We're gonna fold this one over. And we are going to roll it. A loaf. Since we got a little loaf there. We're trying to create some surface tension. We get our banneton here. And we are going to flip it over. Seam side up. We're gonna put in our banneton. And then we're gonna, this is a little technique where you kind of braid it like this. And you're kind of trying to create a little more tension on the loaf. I hardly know what I'm doing, but fake it till you make it. Throw a little bit of flour on the side. All right. We're gonna get our banneton that's been dusted with flour. Kind of scoop it in there with the seam side down. And then we're going to braid this part. Make a little more rice flour on the side so it doesn't stick. I'm just gonna wrap the whole thing up with saran wrap. And then we're gonna put it in the fridge overnight. But we're gonna proof this overnight and we're gonna be baking in the morning. So we'll see you tomorrow. Good morning, class. So it's the morning, and now we're gonna start to fire up our oven. So it's kind of flat. So what I've been doing is instead of using this lid, I have a cast iron loge pot, and I just put this upside down. And this is gonna get heated in your oven. You're gonna set your oven to 500 degrees, as high as it goes. And I'm gonna put this in there to get heated up with the oven. And I'm not gonna get the loaves out until they're ready to go in. It's gonna go straight from the fridge to the oven. We'll be back. So here's one of my loaves. I took off the plastic wrap, and what you want to do is you want to check them by kind of pushing down on them, and and you want to see it kind of come back. Leaves a little imprint, but it kind of comes back. See that? I also have my tools ready. I have this is a spatula I used to get it out of the pot. This is a razor blade that I use on the skewer that I used to score it. And these are my welding gloves. I don't have any oven mitts, so I use my welding gloves. And then I have a rack for it to rest on after. So, all right, so the oven's ready. So we're gonna go ahead and get our loaf together. We have a piece of parchment paper here. And we're gonna just hope this comes out. We're gonna just flip it over right here. Oh, popped right out. Awesome. I'm just gonna kind of dust it off. And then we're gonna get our scoring tool. And we're just gonna score this. I'm gonna put a little line right here. So it's all scored up. Just popped it right in there. And we're gonna get the top. And put it right on top. Now we're gonna lower the oven to 450 and set our timer for 25 minutes. We'll be back. You got it? All right, so 25 minutes are up. We're gonna go ahead and remove the lid. We removed the lid. So we took off the lid and we left it in there for another 25 minutes. And now we got this beauty right here. Now we're gonna check it. It should sound hollow. Got a nice little crust there. Got a little design. The little brown rice looks pretty cool. And we're gonna let it sit. Do not cut it. Do not cut it right away. You have to let it chill. It's gotta do its thing. It's kind of like just trying to figure out what it wants to be. Let it cool down a little bit and we'll cut it a little bit later. We'll be back. Hello class, we're back. We're all done. The bread is cooled. We have our 2 loaves here. I learned something. You have to make sure that when you score it, that you have to get in there deep enough so that it expands. When you score it, it gives the bread time to expand. Still got a nice little design on there. But here's our finished product. All right. So here we go. We're gonna cut this nice loaf open. Let's listen for the crunch. Let's see, it's like opening a present. Ooh, look at that crumb. Look at that crumb. So now we're gonna slice this up. The thing that I suggest is once you slice it up is you put it face down like this. And then you slice down this way. We have a nice moist crumb. That is how you make sourdough. This is only like my 5th loaf. So there you have it. We'll see you in class.